one that fnatic earned through macro plays. fnatic take down TSM.
And Selfmade leading the charge as well. The amount of times he's able to get into the back line and snipe people out, combined with, as you said, yes, the intelligent play, rushing down the Baron, playing for the mid lane inhibitor, while TSM were preoccupied on the Dragon. They came in with a good plan and execute on it well. Very
competitive, close game, but I think you could clearly see the decision-making that unlocked the advantage, the lead, and then eventually the win from fnatic. Bwipo standing tall on that matchup. Like, he was under pressure, but he managed to gain multiple advantages against Broken Blade. And Ender, you called it. The sneak Baron, the map play, it's a different look from the regional play.
Yeah, and it was really hard for TSM because they did do pretty well in the laning phase, right? Like the outplay from Broken Blade in top lane, Bjergsen had a big lead in terms of CS over against Nemesis. But when it came down to the fights, under the threat of the level 17 Evelynn jumping into your backline, whenever Broken Blade tried to go in, there couldn't necessarily be that follow-up when they're trying to play back, when they're trying to disengage from that Evelynn. So having that pick be able to split up the fights entirely really made it hard for them in the 5v5s.
Yeah, definitely the case. And I put myself in a double of shoes, and I think to myself, where is the counterplay to that flash over the wall? It was disgusting.
Don't play AD carry. That's the counterplay.
It was disgusting, as was my use of definitely. It was such a crutch word today. I need to get rid of that. But I mean, fantastic performance. I do like the fact that we saw some of the trends, we saw the picks. I think I was a little surprised to see both Nemesis and Selfmade on Lucian and Eve.
Yes.
I had expected those to be targeted, I expected those to be removed, and the Nidalee first pick, if I recall correctly, really did not have the impact I think it needed to.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Nidalee first pick does work into the Evelynn, but with like some of the shenanigans that went on, like they weren't able to convert it into more than that.
It's Selfmade's Evelynn.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the thing for me, is like champion v champion, agnostic of player, I'm on board, but then when you see the impact that Selfmade has had with this team that had the streaks,
yes.
You know, it was the Lucian and the Eve that was fnatic's good streak, if you think back to summer. Put ourselves in the perspectives of TSM. I think we saw some very good plays. I think Broken Blade and Speaker, plus the help of Bjergsen, you know, there was some options. They were able to get some map plays, but it was just one small step behind some crucial moments that allowed fnatic to pull ahead.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that if we look at this, because we will see this matchup again, I think probably we're going to see the Evelynn taken off the board, and then the entire dynamic of the game will change, because the amount of threat he was able to provide by being such high level in the game really did make it impossible for the backline. Like, Doublelift didn't get to play League of Legends. His support died at level 1 on the invade. Like, don't forget that. That went wrong. That was then punished another time, and then once he gets through the laning phase, then there's an Evelynn jumping on him, and that's just tragic to deal with.
I've got a slightly crazier thought now. If we zoom out, we've seen 3 groups playing today. This group was the most chaotic,
yes.
most entertaining, definitely the most competitive. Again, don't answer this question, but how do you think TSM fnatic are going to do coming up against Gen G and LGD? Like, it is really, really interesting to see how that's worked out. We're not going to be able to discuss that because we need to talk about the Oppo player of the game. It was Selfmade on that Evelynn.
Oh, don't do him like this. Doublelift just wants a minion. Boom! Instant kill right there. And we'll see. Minion.
Selfmade on that Evelynn.
Oh, don't do him like this. Doublelift just wants a minion. Boom! Instant kill right there. And we'll see.
I actually feel dirty watching that. Do you know that? It was a fantastic play.
It's just Evelynn things, really, yes. Trevor. Like, it's hard. Like, even in this fight, he's not necessarily flanking, but he does the damage, flashes over the wall. Doublelift can't really do much when he's just constantly being dove on. Like, this was not an easy game to backline for TSM.
What I really appreciated, though, Ender, that you were talking about, and for anyone that's playing Eve at home, when you saw multiple lanes being pushed, Selfmade was just waiting for the rotate. You highlighted, you said you were watching for it, and he managed to, you know, throw a fishing hook and catch Doublelift, hook, line, and sinker. But until you see that play happening, maybe you're worrying about a few other things, so you can't really be 100% ready for it.
Yeah, and I think TSM probably came in, they're like, we can beat this Evelynn thing. They realized, oh, maybe if you don't really take over the early game, it's going to be hard to deal with that a little bit later on. So to all teams out there watching, I've got a secret. Selfmade, Evelynn, it's very good. If you consider banning it, fnatic will not look nearly so good.
And we've got a little bit of time, I think. No, we don't. We're stepping away after the break. Shox and Dash take a closer look at today's action. Don't go anywhere. We will. You shouldn't. You should stay. Stay. Don't go anywhere. Stay.
You can go if you want.
They turn my mic off. It's back.
Welcome back, everyone, to the State Farm Analyst Zone after fnatic versus TSM, where I'm joined by Dash, who will kick off World's Cooldown in just a few minutes. This is cool, Dash. Hello.
Hello, from thousands of miles away. How you doing?
I mean, I'm good. We were not here to gloat, and also I'm sure people are saying, where are my analysts? Well, they'll be coming soon. They'll be joining you for World's Cooldown. But I did just want to get your thoughts on the day, and of course I have to start with the last game of the day. What did you think?
Naturally. I mean, I'm doing well. Worlds has begun its groups, so my spirits are still high, even in light of the result of the most recent game, fnatic taking down TSM. I'm sure I'd be a little happier if either FlyQuest or TSM came away with the victory today, but I'm proud of the fights that each of them put up. It was a tall order, FlyQuest against Top Esports, of course, the favorite of the tournament. And then for TSM, honestly, with, you know, the intelligent level 1 invade out of fnatic, setting them behind, I was actually pretty impressed at how that the NA squad stacked up, at least in the macro game, really kept themselves in it. So if anything, I think it's just an indicator of how that group is very undecided between Gen G, fnatic, TSM, of course, and LGD. So that group really excites me based on the gameplay we saw today. What about you? What were your takeaways? Obviously, EU started pretty well with that victory here for fnatic.
Yeah, I mean, a victory for fnatic, but as you say, I do believe that group is going to be pretty close. And as said, it was a hard one to play for TSM with the pressure coming out of that Evelyn, but they won't make that same mistake twice. And there were some very highlight performances out of Broken Blade, for instance. So, you know, it was the first day. There's always crazy things that happen, right? I mean, Rogue surprised me as well. They did very well, of course, against PSG. And you touched on FlyQuest, but Top just looked like, you know, with Damwon, the strongest team that we've seen today.
Yeah, oh, without a doubt. In reference to that Top Esports game, and we already knew 369 was an incredible top laner, but to pull off the solo kill at level 4 and then to completely run over the game. Another one of the plays within that game that I absolutely loved was when he stopped Solo's Lantern attempt with a Hextech ultimatum on a different target. Just a really intelligent use of that spell mechanically, and again, it just gives more evidence as to why Top Esports is such a favorite. I love that you call out the win there for Rogue, though, because I think that's huge for an organization that is a first-timer at Worlds. While it maybe was an expected win against the caliber of opponent in PSG, I think it's really important to start groups off on the right foot, inject some confidence, you know, into those young players so that hopefully they can continue to roll it forward. And I will also call out, while I gave credit to 369 for being an incredible top laner, you know, Finn is the opposite picture in terms of the style of top laner playing the Malphite, but just as integral to his team's success today, I think, on that pick with a couple of key engages. So I love to see that too.
I mean, it's all about also covering up certain weaknesses you may have. You know, as a team, you need to evolve. You need to make it happen. And Finn showed that, you know, maybe you have to ban out that Malphite indeed. I have to say, Dash, I know it's crazy time zones for you, and you're taking over in a sec for cooldown, but you're so dapper, you're so chipper, you've got your notes, you've watched everything. How are you holding up over there?
I'm doing well. Look, the last couple days were rough because I had no League of Legends to watch. That's when these overnights are difficult, when you don't have, you know, the content to be invested in. But I got to be honest, hopping in the Discord with all of the casters who aren't working, you know, on the broadcast that day and getting to watch alongside them, you know, cheer for the great plays and share in the sorrow when our teams don't necessarily measure up is always very exciting. You know, so hey, high-level League of Legends and a sunset. I have not a sunset. Oh my goodness. Well, that tells you where my brain's at. A sunrise, rather, right to my left here. You know, what could be better than an early Saturday morning with some high-level League?
Exactly. So with that, thank you so much for doing this, because I think it also then creates a great, you know, ending to the day, and we get to hear from a couple of more NA voices. So can you tell us what's in store for World's Cooldown? Who are your guests?
Absolutely. Today on the show, I'm going to have Raz, Azael, Mark Z, and then Lyric of the LPL will be joining us to break down a couple of those LPL-focused matchups. But really what this is you know, 45 to 60 minutes of just a little bit more unbuttoned takes on the day, not going super deep on the analytical front, getting a little bit more of, you know, maybe some of the emotional takes on each of the series, but we'll be hitting high-level beats and highlights from each of the 6 series of the day. We'll be previewing tomorrow's schedule, as well as talking about some top performers. Today in particular, we will be focusing in on that top lane, so talking a little bit about Finn, 369, and some of the others up there. But your one-stop shop for all things recap when it comes to the World Championship.
Fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and join the meeting with everyone to see what we want to do tomorrow on the desk. Now, I'm going to do just one more thing, and don't worry, this is not going to happen every time, but there's a little something we did in EU for PGL, which is just one thing that I wanted to do with you, is take a selfie, just because we can't be together in the same area with this situation, but then at least we have a little photo. Are you game?
I love it. Let's do it.
You just look straight ahead. Just look straight ahead. Love it. Okay, wonderful.
You tell me when it's taken, because I can't tell.
It's taken.
Okay.
Thank you for playing Baldash, and super excited to listen to Cooldown and see what you will be getting up to this World. Thank you so much.